I grew up South Central, King and Western, 41st and Harvard, went to King Elementary from kindergarten to 6th, went to Audubon all 3 years, Crenshaw High a couple of years, Dorsey a year. I even spent a semester at Taft, but I made sure I got myself kicked out of that boring motherfucker.
Didn't high school go to Taft?
Yeah. I didn't like that shit. It was too damn far. I had to wake up 4 in the morning and catch the bus to the bus stop.
Okay, so you was one of those ones that got bussed out when they were
cause see, I was a magnet program student, so I was just supposed to go to Taft for 1 semester, and Crenshaw was gonna let me come back to walk stage. But by that time, my behavior had changed so much, you know, I just kind of was like on some street shit after a while.
So you grew up on the south side of King?
Yeah, it was like the middle of the 40s and the 30s, and around the corner was a gang called 4-1 Hustlers. So the 4-1s was a small set, you know, full of basically family members. That's the same street the police department's on. So them was the guys that came around more, but by me going to King Elementary and summer school, summer lunch programs, and you know, back then you play ball in the summer on the courts. I knew the homies from the 30s more than I knew the 40 homies because I wasn't around them like that. I was around the 30s, so that's where my heart went to that side. But I could have easily decided I want to be from over there, but it wouldn't have been genuine because them was my homies, but the 30s was my friends. These was my partners from Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts and, you know what I'm saying, all that kind of shit. So, you know, I stayed home with it. Whereas nowadays, a lot of people is from hoods just because they like a rapper or a certain person. They not really from that community.
What year was that when the 4-1 Hustlers were over there?
Let's see, from the 80s till about, they started kind of dying out, sprinkling out, like I'm gonna say around the time, I'm gonna say about 94 to me, 93-ish, up in there to where like, cause about 96 came, that's when the 30s and the 40s start beefing.
I remember
And
that.
so it was easy for 4-1s to turn homies because of the common, you know, it was a 10-year beef. When it got squashed in 06 at Tookie's funeral, but you know, it was like a real split over here because you got a bunch of homies that went to school together, elementary, and did everything together, and you know, gangbanging was real solid, so shit was cracking. You know, you hate to see a nigga you went to school with that you can't fuck with no more, but you've been fucking with them all this time, and niggas got babies by niggas' sisters and bros, and you know, you got some homies that got 30s and 40s tatted on them from the old school. So, you know, that was a 10-year rivalry beef, and it ended up subsiding. But, you know, the 4-1s, a lot of the homies from over there just basically turned Harlem or just kind of left it alone. I started rapping like on a fluke because I went to jail. I got arrested for marijuana possession, like 94, 95. And so my mom and one of my uncles, rest in peace, Uncle Mac, had bailed me out. So the next day, a friend of mine from Crenshaw High that used to write music and sing and stuff named Marlon B, you know what I'm saying? He used to ghost write for like My Conception and a group called Jamiz. Back in the day, had a song called Teddy Berries. And so he called me one day and he was like, yeah, man, I got a record deal, man, and I want you to come to the studio with me for your energy. And I'm like, man, I ain't coming to no motherfucking studio, nigga. I don't do no music. You know what I'm saying? He was like, nah, just come through. I was like, well, I'm gonna bring some bitches and some liquor. Then, you know, I'm gonna gather up some girls and, you know, like, you know, studio, flow it up. My initial thing was just go to the studio basically to make people laugh, clown, and all that kind of stuff. So one day he was doing a song called, I think it was All Around the World. It was like a corny kind of song, but you know, he was a singer turned rapper, and so he was like, yeah, Kato, man, I want you to do some ad-libs for me. And I didn't know what that was. I'm like, what the fuck is an ad-lib? He was like, just go on there and put like some energy on it for me and repeat the hook, you know, go over the hook under. And back then we recorded on DATs. So it wasn't digital like today. So everything had to be on point. So I did my little part, and I guess he must have gave a certain flavor to the song. So his producer, his manager, whatever, was like, Marlon, next time you come to the studio, bring him. So I'm like, cool. So I'm just thinking it basically was something for me to do every week. We was recording up here at Paramount, you know what I'm saying, and Echo Sounds where we used to mix at. So I would come to the studio, and so after a while I ended up being the main hook writer. but I never was assigned to no lyrics. At this time, Tupac talking about Ktoe, and then you had the Ktoe from Caution. Ktoe's my actual name, like from my birth, my family. That's my dad's name. So I didn't inherit the name off of no hip hop or no Tupac. That was all, and the spelling. Everything was always like that. So I was trying to find a rap name, because now everybody like know me. Like they like, why you don't never rap? Marlon don't never let you rap. I'm like, I don't rap. My job is to just do the hooks and the ad-libs. I was straight with that shit. I was like a Flavor Flav, Split Star type nigga. I was good though. So we ended up finishing a whole CD together, and they shopping it around, gonna sign the Def Jams, gonna sign the Death Row, gonna sign the Priority. All this was while Pac was in jail for that robbery. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the robbery. When he went to jail, Me Against the World's out. So I started doing that shit. After a while, I ended up being the nigga that wrote the hooks, or I would help him out with certain verses. So I would watch his process on how he wrote songs. So I would mimic how he did it. After a while, by me already being a nigga that knew how to speak, talk, you know, anyway, prolifically or whatever the case may be, I started, you know, getting more, liking it more. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really care for it at first, but he brought something out of me that I didn't even know I had in me. I was always a good speaker, but I never tripped off no music. I just listened to music. R&B mostly anyway, you know what I'm saying? So the shit ended up happening. So we ended up being a group. We did finish the single Paper Chase, ended it up dropping. It was on the BRE charts. I think it peaked at like number 19, got up to 7, started at 56. You know, so the song was pretty cool back when the box was out. So after a while, me and Marlon disassociated ourselves from doing music for whatever personal reasons. Now I was left with all my friends like, well, you rap. So I had to do it on my own. So it took me a while to kind of develop, you know what I'm saying, being comfortable, because I didn't know, I liked the Tupac so much, I sounded like the nigga when I rap. Because you could just hear it spilling out of me. You know what I'm saying? I was like a Tupac disciple, which most niggas was, like how everybody love Nipsey now. That was the nigga that liked. You know what I'm saying? So I got in there and I got good with it, and you know, I ended up developing strong ties with Arizona, a producer named the Music Doctor. He the one really brought a lot out of me, and a brother named I-Rock out there in Phoenix. So I started my solo career basically out of Arizona by way of South Central. So I was repping South Central and everything, but I was doing a lot of my music in Phoenix. You know what I'm saying? And I was developing relationships with the Phoenix artists and producers. So that became kind of like when Ice Cube moved to Arizona after he jumped out of NWA, it was kind of that shit. And so that's the sound. Battle Cat was working on Nigga Buki album, so that funk, you know, I liked that Arizona funk. So that's how I really got to being serious about music. My boy Marlon B, which I'm always giving him his credit, because he taught me how to write and shit, but I just had to take it to the next level and do the shit my way.
Thanks for watching StreetTV.net. If you're not subscribed, please hit that button below and click the bell to receive alerts and notifications. Like and comment below to give us your feedback, and be sure to watch the 2 related videos to the right. If you want to support this platform or follow us on social media, visit the links in the description and listen to our weekly podcast, The Gangsta Chronicles, every Thursday. And thanks for watching StreetTV.net.